Welcome into hour number 2 here on a Buffalo Victory Monday. Chris Brown, Steve Tasker with you on the heels of the Bills' 30-10 victory over the Jets. And we welcome in now the radio color analyst on the Bills Radio Network, my broadcast partner Eric Wood, whose appearances on One Bills Live are presented by Campbell's Chunky Soup. Big craveable favorites collide in Chunky Soup's new Mac line featuring flavors like Buffalo-style Chicken Mac, Chili Dog Mac, and Beefy Mac. Stock up for game day now at your local Wegmans. Chunky Soup that eats like a meal. Eric, how we doing?
I'm doing good. I feel like that's an appropriate sponsor for me. I like that. Nice
I'm ready to eat now. I don't know about you. But let's get into the game. We look at this thing, and look, there's a lot of things we can dive into here. But for me, the catalysts were Joey Bosa and James Cook. There were other guys that played a role, no doubt, but those two guys really stood out yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's one of those games, and we've seen these over the past couple of years with this emergence of James Cook, where, and this is especially a Joe Brady thing, if he knows the ground game's working, if the Bills have a lead, this is not a stat padding offensive coordinator. It's not I got an ego and Josh has got to perform because I'm going to stand up on my Monday press conference and show how good I am as an offensive coordinator and how many points we can score and yards we can rack up. We saw it against Dallas, where I think Josh threw 13 times. Yesterday, he has 25 attempts, but not real aggressive throughout the game, just understanding that they didn't really need to be. And the way the defenses was playing and the way the game was unfolding, they didn't have to do it. So I absolutely love that from Joe Brady. And I think the guys respond to it. And you got a perfect quarterback for it, too. Josh doesn't necessarily care what his stats are. Of course, he wants good stats, but he doesn't care as long as they get the win. That's where Josh is at in his career. He's got an MVP. He's got the Pro Bowls. He's got the contract. Give me the W's, and that's what they'll commit to. And so James Cook had an incredible day yesterday. And just to me, when you have a running back that can truly break away like he can, not, okay, you break him to the second level, he picks up 15 yards, great chunk play. The times where he just completely leaves the defense in the dust, but also has the power to get the tough yards, those guys are rare, and that's why you pay a guy like James Cook. And it took a while to get it done, but they got it done before the season. On the opposite side of the ball, you mentioned Joey Bosa. To me, he's been impressive through 2 weeks. I thought he was impressive against Baltimore, and people pick at the, read option plays where Lamar left him in the dust. Well, he's going to leave most defensive ends in the dust, and I think the Bills will have a different plan when come playoff time if they face him again, whether that's crashing Bosa down and wrapping a linebacker behind him or vice versa. To attack those read option plays when Lamar gets in the shotgun on, potential rundowns. But I thought he had a great night rushing the passer against Baltimore. And then yesterday was dominant. And you can talk about the Jets O-line and say, hey, they haven't been good for a while, but that's a first-round pick at both tackle spots. He picked on both of them. And a week ago, all we heard about was how great these two tackles are, how the Jets made two incredible investments, how they dominated T.J. Watt. So you can't play both sides of it. If you're going to give those two tackles credit last week in their performance against the Steelers, you got to give Joey Bosa a heck of a lot of credit yesterday in his performance. And he's a tone setter out there. He looks like a guy that's feeling good, that's ready to kind of get his reputation back. Yes, he's been dinged up these last few years, and knock on wood, hopefully he stays healthy, but he looks like a man on a mission out there, and it's showing himself through 2 weeks.
We saw it yesterday, and this was a class. This is home cooking. Sean McDermott and this offense with Josh, and they're so efficient. They come out, they score on the opening drive. They get the quick turnover after they stop them on a 3-and-out. First of all, they get their opening drive, the Bills' opening drive, go down and score, take a 7-0 lead, get a quick turnover. Now it's 10-0. Every time the Bills are touching the ball, they're coming out of it with something, either massive field position at the very least, or they're scoring points. And all of a sudden, the Jets are behind it, and the Bills cut it to half power and start handing the football off and start forcing and they're treating every first down like it's a touchdown. That's what we're shooting for. Let's just get a first down. They never really, they put the lid on the defense themselves, right? I mean, that really makes it difficult for a team like the Miami Dolphins, and after that, the New Orleans Saints, and after that, they're getting half a game or a quarter and a half of good film of when the Bills have really got their foot on the gas.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And, they double them up on time of possession almost yesterday, almost double them up on plays. And it was a dominant performance. And I'm not saying this is an off day by the offense, but it was an unaggressive day, similar to what you just said, Steve. And they still put up over 400 yards. They still score 30 points. They still don't have any turnovers yesterday. I mean, the efficiency that they can operate with when they don't need to have their foot on the gas is impressive. I mean, and yes, to your point, you don't show a whole lot. You don't show a whole lot in the passing game yesterday.
Yeah.
You don't have to get into any of your exotic pass concepts, your gotta have it third or fourth and shorts. You could come away with a division win when there was some concerns heading into the game, honestly. I mean, that was a 5.5-point spread, I think it ended at. So, the odds makers thought it would be less than a touchdown result at the end of this one. Ed Oliver becomes a scratch for the game because of the foot injury suffered in practice. And this is a Bills defense that can't stop the run. And, this is Baltimore 2.0 they're facing, and they completely shut them down. And it shut them down and completely out-physicaled them. I mean, from the jump, you think Matt Milano was sick of hearing about how bad the defense stinks? I mean, he makes the first play of the game and then shoots the gap on the second play to stop Breece Hall for a tackle for loss. I mean, it was evident that these guys, Sean McDermott, how do you put it? They were going to have a hard week in the meetings, hard week on the practice field. Well, the defense played like they were a little tired of hearing about how bad they are as a unit.
Yeah, and the second level of defense was markedly improved. I think we all expected that, knowing the type of dedicated professionals that guys like Terrell Bernard and Matt Milano are. But then taking that a step further, I thought Cole Bishop took a step yesterday in his development. Took a step, maybe a small one in week one, because he had some misplays as well, as we know. But to rebound in the fashion that he did on Sunday, I thought was noteworthy and might have gotten lost in, the lopsided victory.
Absolutely. Yeah. He had a nice sack on a blitz, and everyone got on him about, not timing the blitz up against Baltimore. Well, they quick snapped the Bills defense. They caught everybody off guard. If you show your blitz on every single play early to be ready for a snap count or a quick count, you're going to give away your blitz and you're never going to get home. And so you're trying to time it up. They got him with the quick count. That happens. And so yesterday he times it up perfectly and he gets a sack in that game. And it was a little thing. And I hope someone asks Bobby Babich about this or Sean McDermott today. On the sack fumble play on the first play of the second possession, tight end comes in motion. Cole Bishop comes down. I'm not sure if it's communication at the line of scrimmage from the Jets. It's film study. Cole Bishop is pointing to the other side of the field, signaling to A.J. Epinesa that this rollout's coming back to you or that the tight end's coming back to you. That allows A.J. Epinesa to keep contained, which allows Bosa to come in and get the sack fumble. It's the little things like that that make safeties great. And Sean talks about how they're the quarterbacks of the defense. I was watching him pre-snap, and he was pointing it out. So give him potentially assist on that. We'd have to get confirmation, but I talked about it in the booth with Chris during the game.
Yeah.
It looked like he should have gotten assist on that one just based upon his pre-snap communication, which is what you love to see from a second-year player that doesn't have a whole lot of experience.
I walked in the office today, and I looked at Brownie and said, it was so boring. Right? And Brownie's like, I'll take boring every day, right? I take boring wins, let's go. It was like, the second half was a snooze fest, but it was, it's what you kind of want as a fan, but then when it happens, it's like, oh, how about, just a little drama? But now, in 3 days, here you go. The Dolphins come to town. It's a Thursday night game. You'll be back up here. We're back in the saddle. This turnaround, and I thought they got some benefit from the way this game went because, hey, 2 games in 4 days, you really do need to get as much rest as you can, and that means as few reps as you can. Now, the offense, they were so efficient, they couldn't get off the field because the Jets weren't helping them. So they did take some extra reps, but Trubisky came in and he took some reps for Josh. The whole thing. I mean, everybody was playing in this game.
Sat a bunch of guys on
They
defense.
sat a ton of guys. So, that's a little bit of help, but now you got 3 days to get ready for the Dolphins.
Yeah, it worked out perfectly that they were able to rest some guys at the end of that game. And look, we're so spoiled in Buffalo with how beautiful our falls and summers are. So Sal was talking about how hot it was down in the field yesterday, and I think it was about 80 degrees. So it wasn't
Yeah.
overly hot, but that's a game that you play on turf in the sun that can tax you if you got to go down to the wire. So you blow a team out, and you don't have to, strain yourself as much on a short week. That's huge. And then you got the quick flight back from New Jersey, and you're back in Buffalo, get a good night's sleep. And, I'm sure there's guys dinged up from the game, and, it's a physical bunch up front, especially on that front four for the Jets defensive line, and their linebackers are solid. So I'm sure there's guys that are nicked up and sore from the game, but it works out perfectly when you're able to rest some guys and get ready for a Thursday night game. On the opposite side for the Dolphins, they go down to the wire with the Patriots in the Miami Heat. And yes, they had a home game, so they didn't have to travel, but they went down to the final possession of the game in a losing effort against the Patriots. So if you're looking for advantages as far as potentially getting a little bit of rest and not as beat up, I'd say the Bills are in favor there. And then obviously they got to travel up to us with a fairly long flight come Wednesday.
And the last thing for me, Eric, special teams-wise, you got a new punter. He wasn't busy in terms of how many times he had to punt, but fared well there. Hold operation was good. Matt Prater's still perfect on field goal attempts. And Sam Franklin is looking like a pretty nice pickup for the coverage teams.
Absolutely. And you're going to have those guys. Those guys are going to be a commodity again. I felt like they got phased out a little bit when they moved the kickoff up and everyone was kicking touchbacks. These offenses are emerging, so you're probably not punting as much. I felt like those, when I first got to the Bills in 2009, I was shocked how many guys we had dedicated just to play special teams. They sometimes they didn't even run show team looks in practice, but they were out there to make plays on special teams. And then we moved the kickoff up because of the player safety, and we weren't trying to get as many returns. Well, that eliminated a whole bunch of plays for those guys because they played kickoff and kickoff return. And so I feel like with these new kickoff rules, teams are not conceding the 35-yard line. It's amazing. It's only a difference of 5 yards. But Roger Goodell, I believe he was talking to us pregame last year, Chris, when we had him in the booth, and he was talking about if we move it to the 35, how much of a difference that'll make. And it has. Teams aren't willing to give up the 35. And so I thought Prater did a great job. His first kickoff of the game landed about the 10. His next two landed about the 2-yard line. On both of those, they got him inside the 20. It makes a big difference.
Perfect.
When, that extra 8 yards makes a huge difference for your coverage units. And then you got a guy like Sam Franklin, Buffalo Joe made a tackle.
Right.
Those guys are factors. It's, Steve,
it
it's
was
the
a
return
balance,
of the
yeah.
special teams.
It was a balance because you always, if you're never going to give up a touchdown, and you saw this when they were kicking everything out of the end zone, you're never going to risk giving up a touchdown return if you don't mind giving them the ball at the 20. But now, giving them the ball at the 35, if we get a couple of guys and we don't give one of those up, we're way ahead over the course of a long season.
By putting it in play.
By putting the ball in play and letting our guys tackle them short of the 35 or short of the 20 even in some cases. So, yeah, it's a math problem, right? And they did the percentages, and there you have it. Special teams are back in the game. I'll say that years ago, and I've talked about this on the show, I was in that summit meeting when they said we're going to change the kickoff drastically when they started doing the standing start. And the league at that time was completely committed. Troy Vincent said, listen, we're going to keep the kickoff in the game. We're not just putting the offense out there and starting it on the 20. We're not doing that. The kickoff is going to stay a part of the game, and they have made good on their word. So I think it's a great part of the game, and it's a better play now than it's been for 20 years.
I agree. And look, people can talk about how soft the NFL has gotten. And look, these guys are so big and fast and strong. The game's so violent. It's not a soft game by any means. But when I first got in the league, you did not want to be on what did we call it? So the wall,
wedge.
You did not want to be on the wedge, and they would stick offensive linemen back there, and you could link arm in arms, and there would be dedicated wedge busters on the kickoff team who their only job was to come down the field and blow up whoever they had on their wedge. So it was 3 guys you could have in a wedge at a time. Then it went to 2. And I'll tell you what, there's a lot of backup O linemen, backup D linemen that celebrated. They raised a toast when they eliminated the wedge because they needed to get rid of it. I mean, it was a concussion every single down the field. But now we get it back. And I'm with you, Steve. Don't eliminate the kickoff. It's the opening kickoff of a game, there's just something to it. There's something ceremonial about it. There's something, it's great pageantry for the game. It's an exciting play. Yeah. Don't get rid of it. But what they've done now is they've brought it back to where you're getting action. It's not just a kick it out the end zone, run out to the 20.
Yeah,
I think they've done a good job with it.
It had been a ceremonial play for a long time. They just kick it out of the end zone. Okay, now let's start the game again. It's like taking a break to let the kicker kick. Now you got some guys out there who are running. You're right, Eric. Back in my day, there were 4 guys on the wedge, and it was a train wreck. It was a train wreck. And that's why they had to do something. You said it. That's how they had to do something about it. You got big offensive linemen and guys like me or bigger than me running full speed at each other and
from 40 yards out.
Nobody's trying to avoid contact. Nobody's trying to slip.
You had to blow it up, or else the returner could just go right behind you. I remember, quick story. I remember we played the Browns early on in my first year. Alex Mack had got drafted in the first round. So did I. Both interior offensive linemen. They had him on the wedge, and I wasn't on the wedge. And I remember after the game, it was the most boring game in NFL history. It's that 6-3 Derek Anderson win where he completed 2 passes against us and won the football game. But all Alex Mack could talk about after the game was how he was on the wedge and I wasn't, and he was beside himself. I'm like, I went to the right organization.
Yeah. Eric, thanks for the time. We'll see you in a couple of days back up here for Week 3, Thursday Night Football. Thanks.
Sounds good. Looking forward to it, guys.